So, as a lot of you probably already know, Elon Musk and Donald Trump had an interview released yesterday on Fox News. The full version is about 40 minutes long. I think the edited version is about like 20 minutes. It was really interesting. I just want to show it's a few of the clips that kind of define the whole interview, a little bit of liberal outrage, and there was actually some pretty funny parts in the whole interview. So make sure you subscribe to all my channels, like, comment, share this around, and we're just going to dive on in. So this might be the funniest thing to happen in the whole interview. This is Elon Musk talking about Trump derangement syndrome.
Love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left, you know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less so.
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, you know, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
And
So I think this perfectly defines the left in so many ways, because like so many of them won't even be in a room with someone the opposite view. No, they don't even want to have conversations, discussions, debates. It's very rare to find someone on the left that's willing to do that with someone on the right, whereas people on the right will pretty much talk to anyone. I have liberal friends at work. I have liberal friends in real life. Like, I don't have an issue. I'll discuss anything with you. My views might not agree with you, but I'll discuss with you. I'm not going to go into a blind rage because you voted for Kamala. That's insane. This one, so they're also here. So people, Sean Hannity brought up that liberals say nobody elected Elon Musk, nobody voted for Elon Musk. And he points out that the thousands and thousands of bureaucrats that run the government, all these organizations, no one voted for them either. So take a listen.
what all we're really trying to do here is restore the will of the people through the president. And what we're finding is that there's an unelected bureaucracy. Speaking of unelected, there's a vast federal bureaucracy that is implacably opposed to the president and the cabinet. And you look at, say, DC voting, it's 92% Kamala. Okay, so we're 92% Kamala. That's a lot.
They don't like me here either.
I think about that number a lot. I'm like 92%. That's basically almost everyone.
Yeah.
And so, how can you, if the will of the president is not implemented, and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented, and that means we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy.
So he's absolutely right here. Like the bureaucracy, the people that run these organizations, the people that get appointed, they're not elected at all. And a lot of these times, they have these positions for life. Like the fact that Trump's firing people is like unheard of. The left has this like thought process that if you're a government employee, you should be set for life. And the thing is, if you know you're not going to get fired, you're not going to try at your job. You're not going to care about you doing your job right. You're not going to put in any effort because you have no urgency there. You have no, you don't need to try, like I said, because you're going to keep your job no matter what, you know? And he makes a good point about that here. Benny Johnson shared this. This is talking about where people's tax dollars are going and how Elon said people should be mad about it.
I want people at home to understand this part. The average American makes $66,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay? We have $37 trillion in national debt.
Yes.
Now, all the money I'm about to mention and what we're going to scroll on our screen, and all of this is going to foreign countries. It is not being spent here in America for better schools, law and order.
I think the average tax-paying American should be mad as hell because their tax money is being poorly spent.
All right, let me go to the second question first. I want to know, because people like Joni Ernst and
Joni Ernst has tried for a long time, and she's actually got a lot of good data. Senator Ernst has been really helpful, actually.
Okay, but they they actually hide what the real purpose of the spending is.
Sure.
In other words, this is a question. How did you decipher? It will say humanitarian blah, blah, blah in Serbia or Afghanistan. We even give money to China, for crying out loud, which I think is nuts.
We'll give money to the Taliban.
But money to the Taliban.
Like a lot.
All right, so
like for what?
But
I want to see the pictures of what they did.
So Sean Hannity actually brings up a good point here. They'll blindly put a bill. It's like $100 million towards humanitarian aid in Iraq, Gaza, stuff like that. A lot of times it's just a blank check, from my understanding. You don't know where that money's going. You don't know what you're funding. It's just humanitarian aid. Like there was a thing that came out from Doge saying I think $20 million went to creating Sesame Street in Iraq. How does that benefit the American taxpayer if the Iraqis have access to their own Sesame Street? It doesn't. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. And that's the whole point of Doge, is just pointing out all these stupid expenditures. And you probably saw in the video, Fox News had a list going up and down of other stuff that we've been spending our money on, and it's stupid. Like this one's on the screen right here, $7.4 million to enhance efficient, inclusive, and accountable governance in Northeast Syria. What the hell does that even mean? Like that's the vaguest thing I've ever seen. This is more, I think is this the same thing as the other thing I just played?
Because the president will make these
Okay,
executive
no, this
orders.
is, so I never really thought about it like this. So Elon brings up how someone will make an executive order, but then there's really no accountability to see if people in the government are actually following the executive order. So, I mean, I guess it's usually assumed you're following it. And obviously the president can't be everywhere. So this is Elon getting on people about it. So he makes a pretty good point here.
You should say tech support because, and now the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented, you know? If you take, for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order where, hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense. Like, so obviously people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals. And yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, you know, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So
even after the executive order was placed, they were still giving out money where they shouldn't have been. They were going against the wishes of the U.S. president and his little executive order. That is how much, like, these people that work in these offices and work in these government positions think they're untouchable. They think they can do whatever they want. You're literally going against an executive order from the president, and you think there's going to be no backlash, and you think they're not going to get caught. That's the biggest thing. Who knows how long all these people have been doing this for decades without any president knowing. They're just sneaking it in there, you know? And this one's kind of a funny one. They're calling out liberals because liberals, since Trump became president, basically saying, oh, Elon and Trump are beefing with each other. They're fighting. They're trying to create all these issues that aren't there. So they're kind of bringing that up here.
They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. You know, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things.
So yeah, they're basically pointing out how people say like, oh, Elon is the president, Trump listens to him. They're trying to like create this divide. It's just all liberal fear-mongering, gossip, stupid stuff they're saying. There's no backing to it. They have to cope with what they can cope with because, you know, they have no control right now. And they're all crying, which is so strange. They're crying about government waste being exposed. Never thought that was possible. It's impressive. Harry Sisson's a perfect example of someone who's having a hard time coping with his presidency. So he puts this picture up. It says, two men who are making America significantly worse every single day. Looks like they're in couples therapy. This is the man that thinks Joe Biden's the greatest president on the planet. This is the man that thinks Joe Biden could still be president and win the election to this day at 82 years old when he barely doesn't even know where he's at. So yeah, so just to show you how warped his thought process is. Then you got Elizabeth Warren. I want to point out something here. So in the one of the videos here, he says Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security will not be touched. There'll be no spending cuts, right? So Elizabeth Warren says, last night Trump promised he wouldn't touch Medicaid. This morning, Trump endorsed the House Republican plan to slash Medicaid. Now, let's jump into this. Because I don't think people realize, one, how much money we spend on Medicaid every single year, and it's gone up drastically. So this says, in a $2 trillion spending, outlined about $2 trillion spending cuts. They included a proposal $880 billion in spending cuts from the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which would likely extend for a decade. It's likely these cuts would target Medicaid. So they're not even for sure it will be Medicaid. They're just assuming it's Medicaid, for one. Two, $880 billion over a decade. So that's $88 billion a year. This is how much we have spent on Medicaid. So just from Trump's first year, 2017, we were spending $600 billion that year on Medicaid. 2022, just 5 years later, went up to 824. We cannot keep going in this direction where all of our money is being spent on Medicaid. We spend $6 trillion a year. This is like what, almost 15-20% of our whole yearly expenditure is Medicaid. That's insane. There needs to be cuts. And the thing is, if you cut $80 billion, right, from the 2022, whatever we spent, 824, it would just go back to 2021 level. That's not that crazy going from 2022 to 2021. That's still higher than ever before. Like, this expenditure is crazy. Just in the past 10 years, 2012, 431. Our expenditure on Medicaid is more than doubled. Something needs to happen here. So I fully support cutting Medicaid. And I think this whole Make America Healthy Again movement will get people more off Medicaid, more using prescription drugs. They'll be off doing that. They'll be healthier in general. And I think that's how you push people out of Medicaid, off Medicare, and just a healthier life. So I think that'll solve a lot of this going forward. But this is insane. I don't think people realize how much we spend on Medicaid. This is crazy. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, what you thought about the Elon Trump interview with Fox News. It was definitely interesting. I haven't seen a lot of liberals really talk a lot of negativity about it. So they had to have done good if liberals can't even make up stuff to say about it. They've been pretty quiet. Let me know what you think about the Medicaid situation, because this is something I'm definitely going to look more into. I just stumbled across this right before this video, but this is insane. Like, this is crazy. Like, we can't keep going like this. We're going to be bankrupt as a country. Like, if this doubles again, in just 10 years, we're going to be spending $1.6 billion on Medicaid. That's insane. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, follow all my other channels. They'll be in the description below. Thank you for watching.